Hi, my name's Nick and I'm an engineer at Marmalade. In this video I'm going to walk you through how to set up a desktop machine and a BlackBerry device for deploying with Marmalade. I'm going to use a PC, but you can use a Mac and the steps are exactly the same. I'm also going to set up a BlackBerry 10 device for deploying to. The steps are exactly the same for a playbook. So the first thing you need to do is go to MadeWithMarmalade.com, register, log in and download the SDK, which I've already done. On Windows you need Java installed, so I'd recommend downloading the version 6 JDK because it's nice and stable. You'll also want an IDE to work with, so Visual Studio 2010 is free and works. On a Mac, Java and Xcode should already be installed, but you can get Xcode from the Apple App Store. Then for BlackBerry, what you want to do is register for signing. So you go to this website here, basically fill out your details. So I've ticked BlackBerry 10 and higher, put in my details, I'll add my email address there, and a PIN. The PIN is just to make sure that when I register in a minute, it's the same person who filled this form in. And then hit submit. BlackBerry will then email you 2 files which you use for the setup process. This can take up to 2 hours. So to cheat a little bit, I've done this earlier. So these are my 2 files here. You get a PBDT CSJ, this is for creating debug tokens, which let you do development builds, and you get an RDK one, which is for doing actual signing for the store. So what I'm going to do now is go to the QNX folder. This is within the Marmalade SDK. Basically, this deploy plugins folder has all of the different tools and things that we ship for the different OSs like Android and BlackBerry and iPhone and so on. So QNX is all of the BlackBerry devices, and I've just dropped these files in here for simplicity basically. So I'm going to open the command prompt and change folders to this one. And then basically I'm going to run this tool. So BlackBerry Signer is just the tool that does all of the signing setup. We've put in our PIN that we put online there. The store pass here is a new password. This is basically the password that will be set for your actual signing when you build for the App Store. You can make them the same if you want. I'm just pointing out that they are different. And then I've put in the 2 files here. If I hit enter, because it's Windows, this is supposed to be a backslash. If I just change that, hit go, that'll connect to the BlackBerry server, register, and give us some keys. And we're now ready to sign and build for BlackBerry. In order to upload our test build to the device, we need to create a debug token. So first of all, on the device, I need to go to the settings, open up About, Category, Hardware, to find the PIN for the device. So this will be used to identify the device when making a debug token. And also while we're here, if we go into Security and Privacy, Development Mode, and turn on Development Mode. Back on the desktop, we need to create a debug token to allow us to upload builds to the device. When we did the signing setup with BlackBerry earlier, it created a few files on our hard drive. So if I go to my user folder, app data local, it's created a research in motion folder. And in here are a couple of files basically that do the setup. So if I want to switch to using another machine, either a Mac or a PC, all I have to do is copy these 2 files and paste them to the same location on the other machine. On a Mac, this is basically your user folder, library, research in motion. So all I'm going to do now is copy this author P12. So this is basically the certificate that it's created that we use for signing, and I'm going to drop this here. If I wanted to do a sign build, I would use that at that step, but it's also used for creating the debug token. So if I close this down, I've cheated a little bit here and I've copied the commands, so I always forget them. So basically to request a new token from BlackBerry, you run this command. All this is doing is specifying the passwords that we set earlier, the P12 file that we've just created, the device ID we found on the device just now, and that's the name of the token we're going to output. So if I just copy that, switch back here, and run that command, it'll create a debug token, and we can see that's sitting right here. And then this one here, BlackBerry Deploy, this just installs the token to the device. So that's the name of the token we just created, and this is the device IP address and password that we set on the device earlier. And then you'll see on the device it should say debug token installed, and it'll give you the token details. So that's basically the device and the desktop completely set up and ready to deploy to BlackBerry 10. One last step you might want to do is, if you have a look inside the debug token here, which is basically just a zip file, and open it, there will be a manifest file inside, and this is basically a text file that specifies some information. If you don't know what your author ID is that you'll need later on in order to deploy to devices, that's in here, so it's basically this number here. So what I'll do is just copy that and back it up for later. And when we come to actually deploying to a device, you just have to specify your name and your author ID in order to sync with that token on the device. And that's it, we're now ready, completely to deploy to BlackBerry 10 and Play.